In today's video, we visit a fenland town in North East Cambridgeshire. It lies just 5 miles south of Lincolnshire and borders Norfolk. This market town was once 7 miles closer to the sea than it is today. There is no shortage of industry in this area, but something is about to be built in this town that the locals really don't want. Apparently, the town's name is one of the most mispronounced names in the UK. Today, we are in Wisbech. Sorry, I mean Wisbech. Let's discuss it. One trucker's eye. We're starting this video off 6 or 7 miles south of Wisbech. If you are approaching Wisbech from the south, you will either come from Peterborough along the A47 or from March on the A141. This place that we are passing through now is a place called Rings End. I always enjoy coming this way because I like to look at this old railway viaduct. You should be able to make out the arches on the right hand side of the road. Now obviously the line has long since been discontinued. The reason I wanted to start the video so far south of Wisbech is because there's some really cool photographs online. You might notice the little octagon shaped building on the left. Here's a photo of that very same building, but this time we are looking south. Apparently this was the actual view from the train station. The train station was called Guyhirn. Using Google Maps you'll notice that the village of Guyhirn sits adjacent to Rings End. Strangely, the station was named Guyhirn, but with an A on the end. The pub that you can see just beyond the octagonal building is now a restaurant, and you can see this as we were driving up the A141. And these days, it no longer has the chimney stacks. The disused railway line used to take commuters and freight between Spalding and March. The old railway bridge across the road was eventually demolished, leaving the A141 free for trucks to travel along up to Wisbech. As we continue along the road and under what would have been the bridge, you'll notice this building on the left hand side with the solar panels on the roof. This was the former chapel at Rings End. It's now a private dwelling. But if you look online there's also a really cool old photograph of it. Continuing our journey towards Wisbech, we'll come to Guyhirn Junction. Back in 2022, a series of improvements were made to this junction which cost £17 million. To get to Wisbech from this roundabout, you would take the exit straight across the roundabout. If you were to turn left, you would take a bridge across the Nen River. And that road there is the A47 heading towards Peterborough. Now if you've ever watched any of the Trucker Tim videos here on YouTube, you might recognise that bridge. You'll quite often see him driving across that bridge in his videos. And the Shell petrol forecourt station just past the bridge is where he does most of his refuelling.
Christ. This is the slowest pump in Cambridgeshire.
And this is now us approaching that bridge coming from the direction of Peterborough. Everyone I know will call that the service station at Guyhirn Bridge. And they'll also give you directions from Guyhirn Bridge, turn left or turn right at Guyhirn Bridge. But this bridge was actually called the Nen Bridge because it runs over the River Nen. But following the roadworks in and around this junction between the years of 2021 to 2022, the bridge was given a brand new title. In that BBC News story, they declared that the bridge was widened. This wasn't actually ever the case. What they actually did was take one of the pavements away and shorten the pavement on the other side, whilst also taking the hashed central reservation away and replacing it with a solid white line. And we can prove this by looking at Google Maps. Upon completion of the construction, there was a competition run to give the bridge a new title. A young girl called Ava, who was 13 years of age, won the competition to rename the bridge the Tiddy Munn Bridge. I guess it'll always be Guyhirn Bridge to me. Sorry, Ava. We'll actually be seeing more of Trucker Tim later on in this video. This is now us heading north up the A47. We're just about 4 miles outside of Wisbech at this point, and as you can see in the distance, we've featured these many times on this channel, but we have another large cube, and we'll be taking a closer look at that in a few more moments. But before we do that, we're going to take the B198, which will take us to Wisbech Centre. You may have noticed this clip earlier on, but I wanted to point out the massive amounts of food outlets, supermarkets and shops along this short stretch of road. It all starts with a massive Tesco's and then a cinema.
I saw the light on the night that I passed by her window.
Once past there, you'll pass Knowles Transport Services. They are one of the 3 big players in the area of Wisbech, the others being Brett's and also Ken Thomas. But once past Knowles, you'll start to see even more retail services. For a town with only a population of just over 30,000, there seems to be more than its fair share of fast food retail outlets too. And they don't even seem content with what they've got, as they're building more on the way out. But just up ahead at these next set of lights, you'll notice that there's a 7.5 tonne weight restriction, meaning that we have to turn right for the industrial estate that we're going to. And as I mentioned earlier, Wisbech has more than its fair share of industrial units too. Let's get up in the air and have a look. So as we make our right turn onto this particular industrial estate, the first thing you might notice is AB Textile Trailers on the left hand side. This company on the left and right is a company called wisWIN. Now they are a company that processes and sells frozen potato and vegetable products to restaurants and retailers worldwide. Those AB Textile Trailers are used for transporting potatoes, so you can tell by the volume of the trailers how many potatoes wisWIN is going through. And that's because even if you haven't heard of wisWIN, they are one of the main producers for the fries at McDonald's.
McDonald's world famous fries. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Moving along this road just a little bit further, we have a company that needs no introduction whatsoever. Who remembers this advert?
Fruit you can taste in our juice.
Yes, of course, who can forget the Del Monte man? He said yes! Another famous company that you'll know that isn't actually on this industrial estate in Wisbech, but lies more near to the town centre, is a company called Prince's Foods. These days, most of the freight in Wisbech arrives and leaves by road, but some of it still arrives by the river. Wisbech has its own port, and it's Cambridgeshire's only port that provides access to the sea. In Anglo-Saxon times, Wisbech was a port on the Wash. It was only 4 miles from the open water. These days though, Wisbech now lies 11 miles from the sea. You may recall an incident back in 2024 when the cargo ship Baltic Arrow became wedged in the river. Its cargo was a load of timber for the port. But take a closer look to the horizon and you'll notice our mysterious cube once again. This is the Lineage cold storage facility at Wisbech. It's able to store a whopping 77,000 frozen pallets. I dare say that many people outside of transport have even heard of Lineage. But this cold storage facility at Wisbech is just one of 480 that they have around the globe. I very rarely get to visit this site, but when I do, I always find the staff accommodating and really friendly. The loading and unloading process is very efficient. In this video, I've been calling this company Lineage, and there's a good reason for that. Earlier on, we spoke about how Wisbech was always pronounced wrongly. Well, it appears that almost every single driver in the UK pronounces this company's name wrongly too. Or maybe it's just the way we talk in the UK, as we always call this Lineage or Lineage. But Lineage is an American company, and I can prove how you say it right now.
at Lineage Logistics.
So there it is, Lineage. With 480 cold store facilities totalling over 84 million square feet and approximately 3 billion cubic feet of capacity across North America, Europe and the Asian Pacific, Lineage are one of the world's biggest temperature controlled warehouse companies. Just next to that cold store, you might have noticed this patch of grass. And this is something else that we need to talk about before we end the video, because the locals really don't want what is going here. Planning permission was given back in 2024 for a mega incinerator to be built on that site of land. Clearly the locals aren't happy, and let's be honest, who can blame them? The mega incinerator will resemble something like this one here, seen at Runcorn. Locals set up their own campaign group called Wisbech Without Incineration, or wisWIN for short. I'll put a link to that in the description of this video, but I do want to show you a video that was recently posted on the group on Facebook. And it involves this right-hand turn at this junction.
I want you just to look at the complete state of the road. We've got partial collapse, we've got potholes that at the moment are just about coping with the local traffic. However, we've got an increasing number of potholes growing in size, like the one here that if you went down it would certainly burst a tyre, and there's a further one over there. However,
now it's this next comment that I want to address.
Can you just imagine what this road's going to look like once incinerator traffic starts travelling over it with their huge lorries coming in and out during the early stages of construction?
The general public seems to forget very quickly that HGV operators pay a lot more to operate their vehicles on the road. But whether it's through vehicle excise duty like this table shows, or whether it's through other forms of taxation, we can see just how much fuel Trucker Tim puts in many of his videos. HGV operators are certainly paying their fair share for the roads to be repaired. But that guy goes on to make a very valid comment.
And they should only have an access road onto the main road the other side of the plant.
Which does sound very feasible, but why don't they do it? As you can see, the proximity of the A47 doesn't actually look too far away. And there already seems to be roads that take you to either the A47 or the B198 that we came into Wisbech on. So surely it would be easier to access this industrial estate from these roads. Using Google Maps, we can see the Tesco's superstore that we passed earlier in the video. Just by there's a right-hand turn that will take you down this road. This is an industrial area too, but sadly further on down we come across this house. You'll notice how this road narrows off to nothing more than a bicycle track, with the drainage ditch on the right-hand side. What about coming from the A47 further up though? Well, the situation there is pretty much similar. If it cost £17 million to widen that Guyhirn Bridge junction just a little bit, I wonder how many millions it would cost to do all of this that's needed here. I dare say the people in those houses don't appreciate the view that they have at this point, never mind if anything further was to happen. It's now time to make our way out of Wisbech and through Peterborough. If you have enjoyed this video, then please give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed to the channel, then please consider doing so too. We also do love to read all of your comments on these videos. Earlier on I also said that Trucker Tim would be making an appearance in this video. I'll leave you to try and spot Trucker Tim. I'll see you all next time. One more trucker's eye.